Italy is submitting its draft budget to the European Union amid mounting debt. Rome has been struggling to find resources to avoid a rise in sales tax worth around 23 billion euros. But now Italy is said to be considering a new tax on digital companies as an alternative revenue source. The country has twice risked sanctions for its excessive debt. Well, for more on this, let's go live to Rome to speak to our correspondent, Georgia Orlandi. Morning to you, Georgia. How important is this bill in terms of Italy-EU relations?
Good morning, Rosie. Well, this draft budget bill is very significant for the relations between the EU and the Italian government. As we know, the Italian government has time until midnight tonight to submit its draft budget bill. Then the Commission will have to review it and have its final say on it around the 20th of November. And then a new law will have to be voted by the Italian Parliament within the end of the year. But mainly, this is a new phase in the relations between the EU and the Italian government, as the EU will very unlikely clash with the Italian government. And the reason for that is that these government will play more by EU fiscal rules than the previous one. We know that the very strong pro-EU stance of this government is what has helped ease down tensions between the two sides. But despite that, we've seen what has happened in the last year. While the Italian government has risked a procedure for excessive deficit twice, the first time back in November when the Commission rejected the proposal coming from Rome, asking for a new one. It is the first time that this happened since 2013, since the Commission started checking a budget, and then the two sides found an agreement. And this happened again in April when the Italian government sent its spring budget document. The Commission rejected it and took the first step to launch a procedure for excessive deficit. What that means is that the idea is that the Italian government has to comply with Brussels rules for a period of 5 years, and if it fails, then it is risking sanctions. But then, thanks to what Conte proposed, the head of the new government, back in July, cuts of around 7 billion euros, then the Commission decided to delay its decision on sanctioning Italy.
The Italian government are trying to avoid any rises in income or sales tax. So might this new digital tax pave the way for them trying to deal with that debt?
Well, yes, Rosie. Well, this is one of the proposals. As we know, the budget bill is worth around 30 billion euros. The main part of it amounts to 23 billion euros. This is how much the Italian government needs to cover to avoid an automatic tax hike that would come into effect in January if the government fails to provide significant economic measures. Now, one of the ways the Italian government is trying to find resources is to renew its battle against tax evasion. That would amount to 7 billion euros. It is also investing on the environment with a new tax for companies that are producing plastic packages, but also the new digital tax. This is very crucial. The Italian government wants multinational companies to pay a levy of around 3% on internet transactions. That would allow to find at least 600 million euros each year worth of revenues.